How does the Coriolis effect influence frictional force affecting wind movement? A. It directly determines frictional force. B. It modifies the wind direction. C. It counters frictional force. D. It has no impact on frictional force. D. It modifies the wind direction. The Coriolis effect is an inertial force that appears to deflect moving objects, like wind, to the right in the northern hemisphere and to the left in the southern hemisphere. This deflection alters the wind's path and thus indirectly influences frictional force. Because friction is dependent on the surface area in contact with the ground and the velocity of the wind across that surface, changing wind direction changes the trajectory of the wind across the surface and thus the extent of the friction. A longer, more indirect path across the surface generally results in more friction, and the Coriolis effect changes the trajectory of wind. A is incorrect because the Coriolis effect doesn't directly define the magnitude of frictional force, it only affects the direction of the wind, which indirectly influences friction. C is incorrect because the Coriolis effect doesn't actively oppose frictional force, it simply alters the wind's direction, potentially increasing or decreasing friction depending on the new trajectory. D is incorrect because the alteration of wind direction by the Coriolis effect inevitably alters the path of the wind and therefore its interaction with the surface, and thus the amount of friction experienced.